So in this video, we're going to talk about rolling up characters and the different methods that Gary put in the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, think about sitting down at a table and a brand new player rolls 3d6 straight 6 times and doesn't roll anything above a 7. And he says, I have a crappy character, right? Well, what do you do now? Well, Gary had an answer for this in the Dungeon Master Guide, and we're gonna talk about that. So, in Gary's words, right, I want to start with the passage that closes this argument 100%, because Gary already made the case for himself in the Dungeon Master Guide, the character creation section. He opens it like this, and this is on page 11 and 12, I believe, in the DMG. He says, as AD&D is an ongoing game of fantasy adventuring, it is important to allow participants to generate a viable character, right? Of a race and a profession which he or she desires. While it is possible to generate some fairly playable characters by rolling 3d6, there is often an extended period of attempts at finding a suitable one due to the quirks of the dice. And he keeps going. He says, furthermore, these rather marginal characters tend to have short life expectancy, which tends to discourage new players, as does having to make do with some character or a race or a class which he or she really can't or won't identify with, right? So character generation then is a serious matter, and it is recommended that the following systems be used. Well, marginal characters tend to have a short life expectancy. So read that again, right? So, and it discourages new players. Well, it's a serious matter, right? And this is not a DM giving players an easy ride. That is a designer who understood that character creation is the first impression of the game to new players, right? And if the impression is a farmer with a 7 intelligence, the player's going to leave, right? So what AD&D says its characters are. So check this out, and this is in the DMG, the Player's Handbook. Sorry. Now, here's the design context. This isn't just about making players happy, right? It's about what AD&D says its characters actually are. Player's Handbook, page 9, I believe, under character abilities. Yes, under page 9. He says the premise of the game is that each player character is above average. Okay, so he states that right at the beginning there, and at least in some respects. Not everybody's superheroes, right? But as a superior, and has superior potential, he says in there. Furthermore, it is usually essential to the character's survival to be exceptional, with a rating of 15 or above, in no fewer than 2 abilities, ability characteristics, right? So 2 stats of 15 and above. Sure, that could be hard to do with 3d6, right? Essentially, and he says it's essential for survival, right? Not a nice to have as a baseline for characters who are going to live long enough to matter. Pure 3d6 or in order doesn't reliably get you there. The math doesn't. The average of a 3d6 is 10.5, right? Rolling 6 times, you frequently get the character with 1 high stat and a lot of 9s and 10s, and even lower. That character isn't exceptional. That character is a villager who picked up a sword, and Gary knew it, and that's exactly why he built something different. So let's talk about those difference, right? And this is on page 11 in the Dungeon Master Guide, right here, my friends, right here. And he goes into, look at this. He goes into the curve of 3d6, and then he goes into the different methods here. So 4 methods. Here's what he actually built. Right? He 4 methods in the DMG, and a 5th added later in Unearthed Arcana. Every one of them more generous than 3d6. So, method 1, drop. It's called 46. Drop the lowest, right? So, and it's the method that I use for my players at my table, right? So you do this 6 times. You arrange the 6 scores in the order you want, and this is the method most people in AD&D I think use. You know, players know what Gary kind of put this together, and it averages it up. I don't remember what the actual average is, but it brings it more favorable for character creation, right? So the other one is roll, method 2, okay, is roll 3d6 12 times, right? Keep the 6th highest scores, right? Arrange them as desired. So you're basically rolling 2 characters, putting them into 1, put in the scores where you want, right? Okay, there you go. Method 3 is for each of the 6 abilities in order, roll 3d6 6 times. I mean, that's crazy, right? Unless you got horrible dice, right? So for each of the 6 abilities in order, roll 3d6 and keep the single best score for that ability. That is method 3. So method 4 is roll 3d6 in order 12 complete times, generating 12 full character stat blocks. That player picks the one set that they like the best. Okay, there you go. That's another one. Then you got out of Unearthed Arcana, this book right here, and this is for, he says, humans only, right? The player chooses their class first, then rolls the class-specific number of dice for each ability. Fighters roll 96 for strength and keep the best 3. Yeah, that's really a huge progression. But like I said, I use method 1. You roll 46, and I've actually have it a little bit modified. You roll 46 in order and drop the lowest. That's what I do. So let's go on and talk about what this generation, generation method says about your game, right? So here's the thing I want you to actually sit with if you're watching this video. And this just isn't a mechanical question. The method you choose sets the tone of your entire campaign before your single die roll for initiative, right? So pure 3d6 in order is a statement about the world. It says people in the world are fragile and ordinary. You might be a great magic user, or you might be a clumsy thief with a 7 dexterity. The dice decide, not your ambitions. Death is close, survival is earned. That is a legitimate game. Tenkar runs it with BX. It works. I kind of do the same thing because I don't really allow the movement of stats. And, you can roll very low on 46 drop, one of the lowest. The AD&D buffet of methods to generate characters is a different statement. It says that people who become adventurers are not random. They are by definition the exceptional ones, which I quasi believe in. The 8 strength character didn't walk into a dungeon. That person stayed home and tilled the field. The person who picks up a sword and walked into danger were already operating at the edge of what humans can do. And that's not a power fantasy concession. That's a genre argument. Conan doesn't have a 10 strength. Right, Fafhrd doesn't have a 9 constitution. The heroes in the literature that Gary was building this game on are from exceptional. They're exceptional before the story even starts. Right, so here's a trade-off that I think was built in. Now, there's one more thing Gary baked into this that most people miss, right? The generous stat the stat generation methods exist because AD&D is, as Gary calls it, in the same passage, an ongoing game, right? These characters are meant to survive long enough to build strongholds, get named level, attract followers, and reshape the world of Greyhawk, right? Exceptional starting stats don't make the game easy. It makes the game survivable long enough to get hard in the right ways. That sounded weird. The character with an 18 strength and a 7 wisdom is still going to make bad decisions, right? A character with method 1 stats is still going to die to a wandering gelatinous cube, right? If the character isn't paying attention. The dungeon doesn't care how you rolled it. Higher stats don't protect you in the dungeon, right? They protect you from a session where the dice just didn't cooperate, maybe. And you put your new player rolls, and your new player rolls and a character that can't connect, maybe he doesn't come back. I'm kind of halfway in between that, because I believe that a lot of a lot of players, sure, they should be exceptional, and Gary says it in there, but there's also a big difference between BX and AD&D. So think about it. I think that you get a +1 at a 13 or higher on BX, right? So your Dex is already getting a bonus at a 13 or higher. Well, in AD&D, it only starts at a 15, okay? So that bar has been lowered in BX, where it's more, 13s are easier, in 3d6, 13 being exceptional above the average, you're getting a bonus for that 13. Well, you got to get it you got to get higher number to really start getting any kind of bonuses, 15 for strength, 15 for dex, right? So that's where that extra die roll comes in if you do method 1, 46, right? So I think there's a big trade-off there, with the bonuses on stats. So I can see it. I can see that they're totally different in that aspect. 3d6 works for BX. I think 46 drop in method 1 works for AD&D. So, all right, you guys. Well, Gary didn't give you a menu because he wanted to coddle players. He gave you a menu because he understood that the method you use to create a character is a single sentence of the campaign. It tells your players what kind of story that they're in. If you run a pure 3d6 in order, you're running a gritty survival story where mortality is the texture of the world. And if you run method 1 or method 2, you're running kind of maybe a little more heroic, or exceptional people do exceptional things. But there's a trade-off between the two systems. Like I said, with the higher needing for stat bonuses, right? So neither is wrong. Gary wrote both. The difference is that he was specific about which one in AD&D is built for, and right there in the DMG, character generation is a serious matter, right? That's what he says in there, and I believe it, and I think he was right. So. Forgot to say at the beginning of this, but this is a collaboration between Tenkar and Eric Tenkar at Tenkar's Tavern and Greyhawk Ragnar, Joe Block. We're both doing videos on this. Tenkar is over there and he's defending and talking about 3d6 and the BX angle, and Greyhawk Ragnar is coming at it at another angle. Maybe he's using the Adventures Dark and Deep. I can't remember how generation is on that, but maybe he'll talk about it. The links are below. And I want you to know that what method, I want to know, what method are you using at the table? I told you guys what I use. I use 46 drop and straight in order. And has it ever produced a character that surprised you? Yeah, it has me. I mean, yeah, totally. Drop it in the comments. I want to hear what method you guys use. So, all right, you guys, I am DM Angelo. Keep gaming, take care, And we're all going to be on the Sunday night special discussing it. This should be a really good video live stream. So check us out in a couple days this Sunday. All right, you guys. Bye-bye.